This person says, my company is likely headed towards either a merger or a buyout by a bigger competitor. How can I try and keep my role during this?
So most people's first go-to when they're trying to keep their job is, how do I provide value? They try desperately to define how they provide value, and they try to do more of it. And it sounds really logical, doesn't it? Like, okay, if I have my value here, then I'm not going to get removed from this role.
Right. I prove my worth.
I prove my worth. The hard part about that is that things that you value in yourself are probably not necessarily the same things that other people value in you. And when you start focusing so much on the things that you value in yourself, you become blind to those other things. So you're putting a ton of energy into proving your worth, and you are now leaving energy away from those things that you don't necessarily like to focus on. So here's an example of somebody who really likes to get tasks done, check things off, move really quickly. That person may be curt when they're talking to others because they're trying to move quickly. And so they've proved their value in moving quickly, but they have totally shown that they don't have any value in the interpersonal, fluffy, friendly stuff that they would have cut out to make sure that they can move faster. The team may value the fluffy other stuff.
Right.
So you don't want to
Not
bank.
see you as a team player.
You don't want to bank too tightly on that 1, 2, 3 things that you think are your biggest value, because you might be wrong. It's better to keep your view wide about what it is that you might be providing in terms of value, and instead of growing more narrow. The other part of it is, again, what's in your heart when you're doing your work. Am I protecting myself? Am I trying to prove value? There's 3 ways we can do any one task, and I generally use washing the dishes as an example because everyone's done that. So when you're washing the dishes, you can wash them just to get them clean. It's being productive. That's one thing that's in your heart when you're doing a task. There's another thing that's in your heart when you're doing a task, which is protecting yourself. I can wash the dishes to protect myself because someone's going to shout at me if there's dishes in the sink. That's another way I can do that. The third thing you can do is to have fun when you're doing the task. So I can wash the dishes, play in the bubbles, like sing into the spoon like it's a microphone. So there's 3 totally different ways to go about the same task, and they have different outcomes. If I'm having fun in the sink, it's probably going to take me a really long time, but I was successfully having fun. If someone thinks I'm supposed to be getting this done fast, they're really missing out on the fact that I was successful at being fun instead of successful at getting this done fast. There are multiple things that we can value in every task, and what you value might be different from what someone else values. So just be very careful about what you're thinking is your value as you're trying to prove it.
So would you recommend then in that case, I'm laughing about the dishes because I think the first 18 years of my life growing up, I was definitely washing dishes to avoid being yelled at by my mother.
Yeah, right?
But it changes over time because then it's your house and you're washing them for different reasons.
But she still yells at you in your head, doesn't she?
Oh, you bet. I can still hear it. No question. Laundry, dishes, I still hear it. Do you think then that people shouldn't focus too much on figuring out why they're doing it so that they don't over focus on their reasoning why and having other people misalign that, or just be very cognizant of the why?
I would be very cognizant on how often you're doing something to protect yourself.
Okay.
So if you are doing something to protect yourself, you're missing the chance to have fun, and people through empathy like to feel when other people are having fun. So you're missing the chance to have fun, and you're missing the chance to be productive because honestly, you're just there to protect yourself.
That makes sense. And I think probably something that a lot of people are feeling right now.
Yep.
Because uncertain times lead to protection.
Yep. And anytime that you are focusing your energy on that self-protection, people feel it. So they're empathizing with your self-protection, which means they're going to start self-protecting, which means now you're against each other because you're protecting yourself in the same space. You're probably not doing it together. You're probably protecting yourselves from each other, which becomes a me against you kind of experience, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do when you're trying to protect yourself.
And not it's counterproductive for everyone.
Yeah, dropping that concept of self-protection and just getting the job done to be productive tends to get you more protection than protecting yourself.
Interesting. It's a good one to keep in mind.